Every war tells two stories. One is written in the bold ink of history books, a story of generals and statesmen, of strategies, victories, and defeats. The other story is written not with ink, but with the blood of the heart, a story of personal longing, of a desperate desire to return to a loved one. It is a story that rarely finds even a footnote in history, a conversation frozen forever in the cold silence of time. The Second World War was not just about Pearl Harbor or Stalingrad. Deep within its vast, violent narrative lie millions of individual tragedies. The most poignant, most heartbreaking witnesses to these tragedies are a few pieces of paper. The letters that were written to warm a loved one's heart, but never came home. One such story belonged to Onirban Sen, a young man from a quiet lane in Calcutta. A philosophy student at Presidency College who dreamt of becoming a professor, he found himself a common soldier in the British Indian Army, lost in the impenetrable jungles of Burma. Before leaving, he had promised his younger sister he would bring her a Japanese doll made of real silk when the war was over. And tucked away in his kid bag, next to a well-worn handkerchief that still carried his mother's scent, was an unfinished letter. One rainy night, in the damp darkness of a trench, he wrote to his mother by the flickering light of a candle. "Ma, I don't know when this letter will reach you. The jungle here feels like a living monster. The smell of rotting leaves and the constant drone of unseen insects make it impossible to sleep. I can't bring myself to eat the food here, Ma. It's the thought of the savory pastries and potato curry you make that fills my stomach. How are you and Didi? Has the bakul tree in our courtyard blossomed this year? Sometimes, I get so scared. I feel like this is the end. But then, your face appears before my eyes. I feel your hand on my head, and I know I have to return. I will come home as soon as this war is over, Ma. I promise, I will never leave you again." Onirban never got to finish that letter. A few days later, his entire unit was wiped out in a surprise Japanese ambush. His unfinished letter was found in the pocket of his mud-stained uniform. But that letter, that damp piece of paper, never made it back to Calcutta. Only a cold, impersonal telegram did, its cruel words informing his family that Onirban would not be coming home. For the rest of her life, his mother would sit by the front door, staring into the distance, perhaps hoping for a miracle that never came. The wounds of war know no borders, they bleed across enemy lines with equal tragedy. In the German city of Bonn, a young woman named Eva lived for the letters from her beloved, Klaus. He was an ordinary German soldier, sent to the soul-crushing cold of the Eastern Front, towards Stalingrad. For Eva, each of his letters was a small piece of sunshine. From the frozen wastelands, Klaus would write to her with all the warmth he could muster. "My dearest Eva, the sky and the snow here are both white. I am tired of seeing this endless white. They call the winter here the White Death. In this land of death, when I close my eyes, I see you by the banks of the Rhine. I see you smiling as you bake an apple strudel for me. That smile is what keeps me alive here. I often think of the children we will have. For their sake, I must return. Just don't lose faith in me. Wait for me." After the winter of 1944, Klaus's letters stopped coming. His final words were buried under the snows of Stalingrad, along with hundreds of thousands of other German soldiers. The war ended, Germany was left in ruins, but Eva's personal war was not over. Even amidst the rubble of her city, she waited for the postman every single day. Her friends tried to reason with her, but Eva held on to the belief that one day, Klaus's letter would arrive. Her drawer was full of his old letters, but there was one final, empty space that was never filled. It wasn't just soldiers. On the battlefield, there were others, like Jean-Pierre, a French resistance fighter from a small village. He fought the Nazis from the shadows. He had written a letter to his fiancée, Marie, and given it to a comrade, saying, "If I don't make it back, please give this to her." The letter read, "Marie, by the time you read this, I may be gone. But know this, my last breath will be filled with the dream of a free Paris. I dream of us walking hand in hand along the Seine, without any fear. My love for you is the last promise I leave behind. When you breathe the air of a free France, know that my love is mixed within it." Jean-Pierre was captured by the Gestapo and executed. His comrade, too, was killed in the fighting. The letter never reached Marie. She never knew the depth of the love Jean-Pierre had left for her, even in the face of death. These letters that never came home are not just paper. They are stilled heartbeats, unfulfilled promises, and silent witnesses to an endless wait. So when we speak of the Second World War, let us not only speak of Hitler's aggression or the Allied victory. Let us also remember the empty gaze of Onirban's mother, the unending weight of Eva, and the unknown love of Marie. Because the greatest tragedies of war are not written on the battlefield, but within